So, sometime last year, I wrote a short about a couple. And what happened is that it was written for a particular time of year, and that time of year passed me by without me doing anything with it. So, when it came back to time for me to revisit this whole Storytime feature, I figured, okay, let's come back to them and let's finally put them in the world. And so, what's happening now is that you are getting this story, hopefully, as an introduction to a series of story times that will all be just one episode. Most of them will be much shorter than this one, but still with all the same warmth and romance and all that of any other story time feature. For now, though, please enjoy Feelings, Not Flights.
The drive is only like an hour or something. Wait up for me. I'll make it worth it. It really shouldn't have been that easy, right? I didn't really know Shannon, so his pleas for me to stay awake just for him when I was already tired shouldn't have held any weight with me. I should have been able to say, I just got off a flight. All I want to do is watch the airport off me and crawl into bed. But here I was instead, in the hotel's lobby bar, having my nerves run in the ground by a group of two loud early 20-somethings who likely never been anywhere before. I didn't get off on police and people's volume level, especially not my people's volume level. But goddamn, maybe it was just a too long day of travel speaking to me. I should have just told Shannon no, and we could see if we could meet up another time instead. I was tired and irritable, and it was likely I wasn't going to be very good company anyway. Maybe he hadn't even left yet. I picked up my phone from its face-down position on the bar in front of me, draining the last sip of my drink before I navigated to his number. Once there, my thumb moved toward the call button, but hovered instead of dropping to initiate the canceling of our plans. Because, if I was tired and irritable, maybe the energy and dick he was going to be bringing with him was exactly what I needed. I glanced at the time, noting that it had already been well over an hour since we spoke anyway, so hell, maybe he'd already decided to cancel the plans and simply hadn't said anything to me. This thing between us was very informal anyway, so it was really only a matter of time before the easy vibe we had cultivated fell apart. Or at least, that's what I was telling myself to keep from developing any type of inappropriate feelings. Feelings were not part of this equation. We'd agreed, which was very easy to say, not quite as easy to adhere to, especially with the way my heart skipped a beat at the shift in the air around me as soon as Shannon stepped through the double doors of the hotel entrance. I didn't even have to look up. I just felt him, even though he wasn't anywhere close to me yet. I tried to keep my cool, but I couldn't help myself from glancing behind me toward the doors, stealing the chance to watch him for a bit before he clocked my location. The man looked the fuck good. Tall, almondy, broad-shouldered, the kind of stuff dreams were made of, honestly. I remember when he first approached me in a hotel lobby, not much different than this one, after a long day at one of the pharmaceutical sales conferences we both apparently hated. 2 years ago. I had been engaging with him in this string-free, location-based fling off and on since then. It was totally fine for me to feel a little flutter between my legs when I saw him, for my pussy to react to the memories of the things he'd done to it. But the butterflies in my stomach, that wasn't supposed to be happening. Hey,
He said, his voice a pleasant rumble in my chest as he walked up, biting his lip. Hey yourself, I answered, not bothering with any type of faux casual pretending. He opened his arms wide, and I slid off my bar stool to step into them, accepting the warmth of his embrace.
I see you're looking good.
He murmured into my hair, just before placing a kiss right at the edge of my ear that had me ready to say fuck all these preliminaries and drag him up to my room. Instead, I just accepted the compliment.
You're not looking too bad yourself, I replied. I see you got a little beard situation going on now. That's new. I like it. I knew you would, he commented with a slick grin as he raked his fingers over the juicy coils. If things went my way, I'd know how they felt for myself very soon. Oh, you knew I would, I countered. What are you saying? I'm predictable or something? You specifically? Nah. I just know the ladies like a brother with a little something to grab on. Figured I'd do a little something different. Oh, so this is for the ladies, huh? I teased. You've just been pulling them left and right with your little beard. I wouldn't say all that, but I do okay for myself. I know you're not talking with the fro out, he teased, reaching up to grab one of my tight, springy calls. He tugged it just enough for it to straighten and then pop back into place. I like this. I knew you would, I said. It was game. Nothing more, nothing less. I hadn't even known I would see Shannon tonight or on this trip at all. We tried to adhere firmly to our see you when I see you policy, and as such, we didn't communicate on any kind of regular basis. It was more, I'm in this city and I've got this feeling that you're here too, or I heard your company was going to be here. Can I see you? Oftentimes, it worked in our favor, but fate had not taken us across each other's paths for 5 or 6 months now, to the point that although I enjoyed every moment I spent with him, down to the seconds, he really hadn't been top of mind for me. I was overworked and overstressed and hadn't even wanted to come on this trip really. Yet, here I was, and here he was, looking a little too good. You want something to eat? I asked, trying to distract myself, at least a little bit. I damn sure do, he replied, leaning into my ear to speak those words, making sure I understood the double meaning of it. I did, and almost choked on my tongue. He'd never done that before. That was a little more intimate than the dynamic we created, and he struck me very much as the no head unless we're in a relationship type. Not a bad thing because, hell, I had the same rule. But something had to have changed for him, obviously, because here he was now, all but promising to eat my pussy later. And I certainly wasn't going to deny him the option, but something was different. I'm talking about the food, sir, I countered, shifting the conversation back to the matter at hand. I needed him fully fueled, ready to give me exactly what I'd been missing since the last time we'd been together. He'd definitely been missed, and not just since the last time. The truth was, any other casual dalliance I'd attempted since our first time together had been profoundly disappointing, which had made it even easier to look forward to whenever we'd see each other again. Of course, I wasn't about to tell him that, though. The very last thing I wanted to do was make myself look pressed. We'd made an arrangement. I wasn't going to be the one to make the stereotype true. Was not going to be the one who wanted more. Even though I did want more. Maybe? That didn't mean he had to know that. Fine. He faked a groan. Okay, what they got? Well, I ordered what they are referring to as a wing flight. 3 different types of wings, 3 pieces of each flavor. It was going to be my dinner, but I'm willing to turn it into a snack instead and share. I think that'll be perfect for us right now. A little protein to get some energy, not too heavy. Are they going to bring us some little celery sticks or something with it? I laughed. Yes, I think so. So, how you been? He asked between bites a few moments later. He was eating up all my wings, but he was so fine that I barely cared. I've been good, I told him. For the most part. Company working my ass to death. Somewhere along the way, somebody got it in their heads that I like to travel, which may have been true 5 years ago when I started, but now, I don't know. I'm kind of ready to sit my ass down somewhere. So, you don't like to travel? He asked. That's a new development. I thought you liked coming to see me. I mean, I guess it has its perks, I told him with a wink. But for the most part, I don't know. I'm just tired of being all over the place. Ready to get somewhere and sit down, as my mama says. He nodded. You've been in it a little bit longer than me, though, so I can see why you'd be feeling that burnout. Yeah. What about you? How have you been? I've been managing, he said. I went through a little breakup a couple months ago. A breakup? I said, almost choking on a too big bite of celery before I could scold myself against seeming like I was further in his business than I needed to be. Didn't we get together like 6 months ago? Yeah, he nodded. And after that last time, you had a brother feeling like he needed some constant companionship. He laughed. It was somebody I'd known for a while, somebody from home. It was a whirlwind kind of thing, hot and heavy for a minute before it went spectacularly bad. Whole friend group jacked up, shit like that. Wow, that is bad. Yeah, pretty bad, he agreed. But, shit happens. Yes, and then you meet up with some chick who is just barely not a stranger and fuck it all away, I added. Exactly, Shannon laughed. You do that too. Speaking of, I said, grabbing a napkin to wipe sticky sweet wing sauce from my fingertips. You ready to make that happen or? Oh, hell yes. Let's do it. He tasted like wings and rum and coke, which probably should have been disgusting, but on his lips and tongue, it was like an aphrodisiac. It was very, very easy to get wrapped up in the taste of him, the feeling of his hands at my waist and gripping my ass as we pushed through the door of my hotel room. There was no time wasted. He had an early flight out the next morning. He pushed me backward onto the bed and went straight to work, getting me out of the comfortable athleisure I'd slipped into after my post-airport shower, knowing that he was on the way. I propped myself up on my elbows, looking down the soft planes and curves of my body to where he situated himself on his knees at the edge of the bed. He spread my legs open wide, using his grip on the backs of my thighs to pull me until I was at the edge of the bed with him, my pussy perfectly in line with his nose for a deep inhale. I found it massively difficult not to simply close my eyes and get lost in the feeling of him as his fingers and mouth worked in concert between my legs. Eventually, I stopped trying, letting myself fall backwards, eyes squeezed tight as he tasted and licked, teased and devoured until I was a moaning, writhing mess on the bed. From my peripheral, I watched him stand up, wiping me from his beard with the back of his hand before stripping himself down. He took a few condoms from his wallet, tossing them onto the bedside table before tossing his jeans somewhere else. I found the strength to sit up just long enough to watch him roll a condom over the long thickness of his dick before he climbed onto the bed with me. He met my gaze with a smirk before he dipped his head, muttering, "I knew you'd taste good," against my lips before he pushed into me, burying himself with one deep, deliciously slow stroke. Damn, I'd missed him. And he showed me exactly why over the next few hours, easily running through the condoms he brought before we collapsed together in the bed. We stayed like that for so long, I almost fell asleep. I'd had a long day of travel already, and now several rounds of very energetic sex had me maxed out. We didn't do this, though. It wasn't as if we usually acted like the other was made of acid or something after the fact, but this lounging around in bed together long enough to potentially fall asleep, that was not our standard. You got plans for Valentine's Day? He asked, quite suddenly, breaking me from my thoughts. Yeah, I told him. Me and my girls. Oh, word? Y'all are really into Valentine's like that? Oh, no, I denied. One friend is throwing a party, and my other bestie will be there too with her man. I mean, most of the neighborhood will be there actually, so I guess I will too. You? A friend of mine invited me to a little get together, and it's close to home, so I figured why not? Actually, I have a feeling I might be getting roped into helping throw this thing, so we'll see what happens when I get there. Oh, that sounds like fun. Or I guess it would sound like fun if we weren't being so damn vague with each other. I really wanted to know more, like where home was and where close to it was, too. What kind of Valentine's theme? Were they having a full blown party or was it just a kickback? But I didn't want to look nosy or clingy, which was maybe worse. Speaking of which, I pulled myself up from my all too comfortable position against his chest before I sent the wrong message. He felt good, and I could honestly lay there all night, but I wasn't trying to make the man feel like he was trapped under me. And hell, maybe he did, because as soon as I met his gaze with raised eyebrows, he jumped up too, like he was taking the only chance he might get to escape. I swallowed the desire to take it personal, knowing that it really wasn't. We had an arrangement. Watching him get dressed to leave when I really rather he stayed stung a little. But just like the attentive lover he'd proven himself to already be, he managed to soothe that sting by slowing down enough to place a tender kiss against my lips before he left. I'll see you around, he told me, offering a grin. Yeah, see you around. I really wonder what Kelly is doing right now. She said she was going to see family, but hadn't elaborated on that. Who, where, what side of the family, all that. Even though she had to know she was leaving out the good stuff. I mean, I know we made this arrangement, keep it casual, but damn, she couldn't even let her brother know her hometown? Guess not. That look she'd given me that night when she sat up like she suddenly realized we'd been cuddling longer than a few minutes had been living rent-free in my head since then. It had a very, so what you about to get into, cause you gotta get the hell out of here vibe about it without her having to actually say it. So I had taken my cue to go ahead and extricate myself from her personal space. I wanted to be all up in her personal space though. Lest I come across like a serial monogamist or something. It wasn't even about trying to rush into something with Kelly now after going through a breakup, even though that situation had been done months ago. Me and my friend had been on some very hot and heavy shit together for a whole month, with my stupid ass thinking we were in love. Some real rom-com, my destiny had been in front of me my whole life and I just hadn't noticed it type shit. Only to find out that my friend was fucking my other friend. I beat the male friend's ass, and one of my cousins beat old girl's ass, and now the whole fucking friend group was all torn up because Kelly had my head messed up. Yeah, that's where I landed. Experienced in her beautiful face, impeccable pussy, and excellent conversations only sporadically over the years had me feeling like I was missing something in the between times, especially after the last time we were together, before this latest one. I didn't know what was different. I just felt like I needed something more. And because I couldn't get it from Kelly, who wasn't trying to be on anything like that, I left her bed with an open mind for other possibilities. And see how that shit ended up? So, yeah, I wasn't trying to jump back into anything too serious or too deep. I just wanted to know more about Kelly, but she really wasn't having it. Boy, if you mess up one more piece of material, your ass is going to be the one going back to the craft store. And it's coming out of your pocket. Riley complained, thumping me in the side of the head to get my attention back to what I was doing. Speaking of friends, Riley wasn't somebody I knew from Blackwood, even though we'd apparently grown up in adjacent neighborhoods. She was from the Heights, which was just a hop, skip, and jump away, but we hadn't ever met organically in person. I had a little hobby that, well, I wouldn't necessarily call it embarrassing, but it also wasn't exactly the type of thing I could explore without getting roasted by most people in my life. So I had done what all the disenfranchised do and turned to the internet for my community, the crafters of the world. It was in a regional group there that I met Riley, who was some sort of crafting savant. She'd even made it into a whole career, teaching classes and stuff at the local library, which is where we were now, putting stuff together for her Valentine's Day party. Man, chill, I scolded, waving her away from me. How you invite me to your party and then put me to work? And not only are you putting me to work, your ass is in here assaulting me. I ain't gotta take this, you know. Oh, shut up. She waved me off, her pretty face pulled into a frown as she propped her hands on her lips. You should be honored that I invited your stranger danger ass to do anything, since you're not welcome in your hood anymore, she teased. She was wrong and right about that. I wasn't necessarily unwelcome. It's just that while most people would have been on my side for handling old boy for playing in my face about my girl, generally speaking, I had kind of taken it a little further than I had to. It was the disrespect for me, though. I really couldn't let that rock. So I was trying to put a solid 6 months of space between me and that situation before I popped out trying to be social again in my usual crowd, since they were still feeling bad for that dude and his exaggerated limp. Anyway, I was grateful to Riley for inviting me to her thing in the Heights since I was considering a move anyway. I had a degree in pharmacology, and the hospital was expanding their reach with a satellite pharmacy right here in the Heights. They were looking for people to fill the new positions, and the pay they were offering was beautiful. If I got that job, it wouldn't make sense for me to stay in Blackwood anymore when my job was in the Heights. So I needed to familiarize myself with the neighborhood. What has you so distracted anyway? Riley asked, taking a seat next to the cutting machine I'd been using to help her make oversized vinyl hearts she was using as a decoration. I know you're not thinking about your ex, right? Not at all, I frowned. Why would you even think that? Because men are always thinking about pussy they either already had or want to get. I opened my mouth to dispute that, but considering that my thoughts had been firmly planted on Kelly before Riley had literally gone upside my head, I couldn't. Before I could say anything, Riley laughed. I knew it, but don't you worry, she assured, reaching her foot out to push my leg. The Heights is full of baddies, and you're a good looking dude. I'm gonna hook you up with somebody tonight. You still haven't met my homegirl from the Halloween party yet. She was having a wardrobe malfunction that night, and I don't know about that, I interrupted. I really don't do the whole matchmaking thing, and I'm not sure you do either. Riley's mouth dropped open in a fake gasp. Excuse me? I am an excellent matchmaker. I scoffed. How many successful relationships are you responsible for, Riley? Including me and Hendrix? Well, one, but that's beside the point. I can do anything I put my mind to. Didn't you meet that dude on a dating app? No, I curved him on a dating app. I met him at the coffee house, and we have been hanging real tough since 2 Thanksgivings ago when I hooked us up at my Friendsgiving dinner. Matchmaking, flawless. Get into it. Riley, if you don't go somewhere, I laughed, fully amused by her antics. This is exactly as she'd been online when I met her a few years ago, too, and I appreciated the energy she brought. So much so that after I was done laughing it off, I told her, okay, Miss Matchmaker, you never came through with the Halloween honey, but you say you can make a little Valentine's boo thing happen tonight. Okay, let's see you do it. Hey, she squealed, clapping her hands together. I've got you. Hey, do you put out on the first date? She asked. Nah, I chuckled. Shit. I had a few whole acquaintances that I immediately thought of, but I'm gonna go in a different direction for you then. My homegirl, she's perfect. Watch. I got you. We should have made Valentine's plans together. It's not that Riley's party was boring or anything, but I've been thinking about Kelly all day, so I finally said fuck it and shot her a text. I mean, the worst thing that could happen was her putting me on ice or never texting back. Maybe I never saw her again. But if she did text back, mission accomplished. Not that I really had an actual mission.
Plans not working out the way you wanted them to? Kelly.
Oh, shit. That reply had come a lot quicker than I was anticipating. Not immediately enough that I got the impression she was waiting by her phone to hear from me, but quick enough that I knew she cared to engage. Good sign. I slipped out of the line of sight of Riley and the chick she was currently chatting up. Probably another prospect she was getting ready to send my way. She'd been absolutely right about the women here in the Heights. They looked good. It was really too bad that someone an unknown number of miles away was the main person on my mind. Not like that, I responded. The party is fine. I'd just rather be somewhere else.
Somewhere like inside me? Kelly.
Damn. Instant fucking arousal. You read that straight from my mind, huh? I text back.
Jamie.
I looked up from my phone to find Riley beaming in my face, but the chick from before wasn't with her.
Hey, I've been looking all over for you. There's somebody I want you to meet.
Hey, listen, I appreciate you trying to hook me up and all of that, but I really don't think.
I told you, I've got you.
Riley said, ignoring my objections to grab my wrist and pull me along with her as she started navigating through the party again.
I just gotta find my boyfriend.
She stopped, pointing through an opening in the crowd to where Hendrix, who I'd only talked to briefly a few months back at Riley's Halloween party, was standing real close and grinning real hard at some chick in a black dress. And if the front looked like the back, I couldn't blame him either. Wait, actually, yes, I could, because he was looking real familiar with old girl while Riley was standing next to me beaming as she got ready to introduce us. Hey, nothing about this is a red flag to you? I asked her. Riley frowned.
Huh? Oh, no, that's my friend. Like, damn near my sister. You can relax, sir. Nobody needs their ass beat. She laughed. Don't be paranoid. It's just Kelly.
It's just who? Riley didn't answer that question, though. She just pulled me along to where they were standing. The closer I got to our destination, the more potent the sense of familiarity became. And when Riley called out her man's name, he looked up, and the baddie in the black dress did too, turning in the direction of Riley's voice with a smile. Yeah, it was that Kelly. My Kelly. Her eyes went extra wide when she saw me, her mouth dropping open.
Shannon, she exclaimed. What are you doing here?
Well, Riley is the friend who invited me to her party, I told her. What are you doing here?
Riley is my friend who I've known forever. Damn near my sister.
Oh, so y'all already know each other. Cool, Hendrix said, extending a hand in my direction. Nice to meet you again, man, he greeted. Not gonna lie, I was a little apprehensive about this dude I met on the internet is gonna come help me with the party this time. He's my friend. Stuff. I ain't know what it was really gonna be. I chuckled. Nah, man, trust me, I get you, I told him. Gotta keep your guard up these days. Beside me, Riley sucked her teeth.
Oh, hell. I forgot how well you two would probably get along. Felon Bay meet barely escaped a felony friend.
Wow, Hendrix chuckled. You really don't chill, do you?
You love it about me.
You're right, he said, reaching out to grab her around the waist and pull her close to him. Y'all already met, so y'all good while I steal my lady away for a few minutes, right? He phrased the question as if it were for both of us, but really his eyes stayed on Kelly, making sure she was good before he actually walked off. Kelly gave him a nod, and he and Riley slunk off together, kissing and giggling as I turned back to the object of my attention. Kelly in this damn dress.
So, Jamie, huh? That's new.
She said, crossing her arms. You lie to women about your name often? Not at all. The embarrassing truth is that Shannon and Jamie are both my names. You met me with my professional name tag on, remember? I asked. So now you know, my mama gave me girl names twice. She laughed, tucking her bottom lip between her teeth.
Well, lucky for you. You look good enough that they both work.
There was silence between us before I spoke again. So, I hear I was supposed to meet you a few months ago at the Halloween party.
Yeah, had a little wardrobe malfunction. Pissed me off so bad I stayed home, she laughed. But according to my math, you had a girlfriend at that time.
No, I was actually still working my way out of the friend zone. So I would have talked to whoever Riley was trying to hook me up with to humor her, but nothing would have happened past that. Kelly raised an eyebrow. Not even if I'd shown up in my cat costume? Looking at her in that dress, it was pretty easy to imagine a visual that made me admit, okay, maybe I would have had a hard decision ahead of me. I laughed. But maybe that decision would have prevented a whole disaster. You should have shown up to the party, Kelly. She giggled.
Yeah, maybe so. What were you?
I was a cactus, I said, shaking my head as I remembered the green embellished crew neck I had made in Riley's craft room an hour before the party at her insistence that I wear some kind of costume.
Wow, I really felt like you were going to say a full blown dragon or a Black Panther or something, Kelly teased. That's very subtle.
I'm a subtle kind of guy, I told her. And you, damn, I can imagine you in your costume now. Prettiest pussy I've ever seen. That made a wide smile spread across her face before she shook her head.
Wow, I wondered which guy at that party would be the one to say that to me. I was not expecting it to be you all these months later.
And I know it to be a fact more than one way, I told her, stepping further into her space. She looked up at me, grinning and not backing away.
You do? And if I'd known we were going to be in the same city, we really could have made those Valentine's plans.
You sure? I asked, eyebrow raised. You weren't even trying to tell me where you were going to be, being all vague and shit.
I was being vague.
She countered.
I was playing my position, not trying to give too much information.
Your position? And what do you think that is?
The position we agreed on. See you when I see you, remember?
I shook my head. Yeah, I do, but you're telling me you never wondered? I stopped, shaking my head. Never mind.
No, she insisted, grabbing my hand. Finish that statement.
I shrugged. I'm pretty sure it's going to toss a bomb on the good thing we had going, but I think about you a lot. Like outside of the little bit of time we get together. I'm always wondering what you're up to, when I'll see you again. Would you freak out if I text you on some random shit? All that. Instead of a verbal response, Kelly dropped her head, laughing. Well, damn.
Jamie, Shannon, the last time we were together, you practically bolted out of the bed when you realized we've been cuddling a little too long. That doesn't match what you're telling me right now.
My eyebrows shot up. Nah. The last time we were together, you sat up and looked at me like I had three heads because I'd been hanging out in your bed too long. So I got my ass out of there before I wore my welcome out.
That's what you thought?
That's exactly what I thought, I told her. Again, she laughed. For two people who claim to want an arrangement where they could be themselves for however long with someone, I'm starting to think that neither of us have been very good at expressing ourselves, she said. Because I definitely wondered where you were going to be, where you're from, what really happened with your breakup, she teased. I've been wanting to ask more about you, wanting to get to know you, but I didn't want to be that girl. Nah, because that girl is exactly what I'm trying to get you to be, I chuckled. I mean, not like my girl, not right now or anything like that, but we could see what it could be, right? Yeah, but with our jobs, how would it work? There's a pharmacy job here in the neighborhood, and I applied for it the day I got here after our trip when we last saw each other, remember? I told you, Jamie, I'm over the traveling. I want to be still. You're talking about the satellite pharmacy that's opening here in the Heights? Yeah, you heard about it? Yeah, I've heard about it. I live over in Blackwood, so it was on my radar. So on my radar that I applied for it too. Oh, so are you telling me that we're about to be competing for this job? I grinned. Maybe not. Maybe coworkers or something, But either way, we've managed to maintain an interest only seeing each other sporadically anyway, so I feel like we can work it out. She smiled. Well, I guess I'm willing to try if you are. Ooh, y'all look cozy. The sound of Riley's voice made us look up to find her standing nearby, with Hendrik still wrapped around her on one side, and her friend January, who I had met before, on the other side with her man. See, I told you I was a great matchmaker. I sucked my teeth. Riley, you can't possibly think you can take credit for this. It happened at my party. Of course I can. Come talk to me about it when the wedding planning starts, she sang, breezing off with laughing Hendrix in January in tow. How did you meet her again? Kelly asked. A crafting group on social media. She raised an eyebrow. Crafting? Shaking my head, I chuckled. Yeah, we've got a lot to learn about each other. Well, I, for one, am looking forward to it, Kelly said, stepping a little closer so that she was right against my body. About those Valentine's plans we were texting about. Oh, for sure, I told her with a smirk. We can definitely go handle that.
All right, guys, that is all for this episode of Storytime. I look forward to seeing you guys again for whatever I come back with next. As usual, this story will be made available in ebook format a little bit later, and also will be made available on Spotify, my Anchor, all the other podcast platforms as well. If you enjoyed this, please leave me a comment letting me know. And feel free to let me know of any other couples from the Heights that you might be interested in a little check-in with in this format. That is not any type of promise that I'm going to revisit them, but just a possibility. I like to know who you guys like to hear from. All right, bye.